This is the Storm Playoff Preview on TampaBayStorm.com and Facebook Live from Amalie Arena. Here's your host, Darek Sharp.
And you heard the man. We are live from Amalie Arena. We're in 4, I would say short days, but the buildup has been so long it feels like it's still a little ways away. But yes, playoff football as the Storm are having their practice on a Thursday morning. We welcome you in to a Storm playoff preview. We've got some pretty special guests. Yours truly, Darek Sharp, will be introducing a slightly more famous Derrick, Mr. Brooks, the president of the Tampa Bay Storm, will also get a chance to talk to head coach Ron James, along with the quarterback who's had a big part in the success of the team this season, and that is Randy Hippeard. It has been a very successful season for the Tampa Bay Storm, the first home playoff game in 7 years, almost hard to believe, and that'll be here on Monday night. The Storm finished the regular season with a 10-4 record, and just a few ticks below a team that had their number this year, but one that they expect, of course we're not going to look past Monday night, to be playing in the Arena Bowl. That is the Philadelphia Soul at 13-1. Cleveland will be the opponent on Monday night here. Again, it is a Monday night playoff game. Cannot wait. We'll get you set for it. The Gladiators at 5-9. And the Philadelphia opponent, it's a Saturday game, will be the Baltimore Brigade as you look there at the bracket. Again, that first game is on Saturday afternoon. Storm and Cleveland Gladiators will be here on Monday night, and the higher seed remaining will host the Arena Bowl. So if Philadelphia wins Saturday, they'll be hosting, but who knows, maybe it'll be an upset and we'll have Arena Bowl here on Monday night. Now, a big reason for the success of the team this year is a receiver, Joe Hills, who had a fantastic season, and before practice, he was able to talk to our own Brian Burns. Here's that conversation.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Tampa Bay Storm star wide receiver Joe Hills. And Joe, you've wrapped up a playoff spot, it seems like ages ago. Now the playoffs are finally here. How excited are you guys to get out there and finally play someone in the postseason?
It's real exciting. We get another home game for our fans, and it's always about the fans. We come out, we play hard, and we're just trying to win another ball game and get to the championship.
How much have these fans and the atmosphere that they've created inside of Amalie Arena here, how much has that helped you guys have success so far this season?
They're the ninth man. They're part of the team. We love them. They come out, they show their support, and we usually put on a good show for them, and we've been racking up W's for them.
How ready is this team for the postseason? Do you feel like that you guys are in a good spot as you begin the playoff run?
Absolutely, man. We're right where we want to be. We lost our last regular season game, which it happens. But we're ready. We got Cleveland, and that's all we're focusing on.
You guys went 3-1 against Cleveland during the regular season. You were 2-0 here at Amalie Arena. Just how do you feel like you match up against those guys?
We feel like we match up great against anybody. They got a good pass rush. The quarterback's, one of the best, and we just go out there and execute, and I don't think anybody can stop us.
I mean, what kind of a challenge are you expecting from them? Do you expect them to do some different things that they did in the regular season, maybe show you some new wrinkles?
Nah, I expect them to come out swinging. They'll probably play a lot of man, and we'll just attack them and, catch the ball, make plays, and get out here with a W.
What about the chemistry on the team this season, and specifically the chemistry between you and quarterback Randy Hippeard? How has that helped you to have a great season so far this year?
Randy's great, man. I think Randy will win MVP this year, and his numbers back it up. We had a great offensive line who, kind of protected him, and we just the chemistry is, I play with him, and he's awesome, bro. I love him.
How much have things changed from now to when you were here before with the Storm? How much better of an atmosphere is it here? How much better is this team this year?
We're a little bit closer as a football unit. When I was here before, we didn't really have a lot of hanging out. Guys, usually after the practice, they go their separate ways. But this year, we kind of hang out and, go get lunch and, kind of, meet each other, families and stuff like that. So it's always a good bond, and it's just a family here.
Is that another incentive then to make it to the Arena Bowl, that you get to spend more time with these guys?
Absolutely, man. I think after the Arena Bowl, man, it's gonna be pretty sad, and we have to tell everybody goodbye. But it's gonna be fun, man. The journey's still not done, and we got one more game to win, and we'll be fine.
Thanks, Joe. Good luck on Monday against Cleveland.
Joe Hills there live at practice, and that team you see, it's not just one-man team, obviously, really came together this season, and a man who oversaw that process joins me now on set as you're watching us live on TampaBayStorm.com. Team President Derrick Brooks, I know it's a few days away, and you've been in some important games in your life, but are you feeling the intensity and excitement ramp up a little this week?
Oh, yes, I have. And you can tell from being around the players that they're a little bit more tuned in. Their energy is a little bit more excited as well. And, you know, everything changes when it comes to the postseason. When I expect our guys to go out there and perform well. They've tried to keep business as usual, as close as they can, but they understand the position we're in, and you can just tell that from the sounds and sights here in practice today that everything's just a little bit more dialed in.
It's been a very interesting situation because while it's comfortable to have things clinched so early in the season, the last month or so, it's sort of just been getting to this point. But they played some good ball during that process. To me, that's been impressive.
Yes, and that's, you know, credit to Coach James and his staff because they found a way to continue to keep our team peaking and moving forward. And we had a couple setbacks during that time, but we looked at them as learning lessons, obviously opportunities to get better, and just to let us know we haven't arrived. So we were rewarded early for our early season success, but by no means did these guys start resting on their laurels. They continue to push themselves to get better.
Well, the early season success led to the early knowing that there's going to be a home playoff game. How important is that to you? And of course to the fans that we're going to actually see one for the first time in 7 years.
It's been a while, far too long in my opinion, and we are excited about it, this building a community to come into this environment this coming Monday night. And as I said before, a long time coming. So I'm excited, you know, to see what this energy is going to bring. And obviously I got to put it from a different perspective because I can't do anything about what's going on the turf Monday night. But I'm excited for all our fans in our community to come out and see a playoff game here in Tampa, and it's not going to be the last.
Well, there you go. Motivational speech, maybe. Don't say you can't do anything. I could see you doing that. Ron James, we've talked about him a lot, and the first couple of weeks, it really stood out to me anyway, not just his temperament and the way the team played and executed, but the strategy at ends of games. I mean, that was such a big game. If you look at the record of 10-4, I would say that conservatively, 4 games would have been won on strategy. Five on strategy.
You know, and they practice it. You know, our 1-minute strategy, every situation from every aspect of our team, special teams, defense, offense. He is so creative in coming up with scenarios that our guys practice and prepare for. So that's why you saw a lot of guys not panicking, situations that we've been in, and you've seen some high execution at those point in games because we make it an emphasis here in practice. And give credit to the guys for retaining it.
Sure.
Because it has to change week in and week out because we don't want anyone to get clued in on code words or code situations. But Coach James has done a great job in preparing our team for those situations, especially at the end of games. And again, in arena football, probably 90% of the games are one possession games at the end. So we do the best job we can to be the most prepared we can.
Well, it's been rather enjoyable as the play-by-play guy of seeing maybe what's supposed to happen and then it unfolds right in front of you. Now, as far as the roster unfolding this year, what was maybe not just one area of need that the team needed, and obviously it took place, some of the things that you focused on this offseason and put into place?
Well, we different from years past is we're carrying a lot more veterans now.
Sure.
And not just veterans, but guys that we had as young players, we were able to get back to our football team. So they knew the Storm culture, the Storm way, and we just continue to build on that talent, you know, starting at the quarterback position. You know, we've had Randy Hippeard when he was a rookie. No one knew about it. And, you know, Coach Wilson found him. And obviously he's gone on to become one of the best in the game right now. You know, Joe Hill's coming back home, and I'm going to always tend to have a local flavor to our roster, whether it's local guys here from the Bay Area or Florida. I always want to look inside out for some of that football talent. But we were able to, again, carry a few more veterans, but yet keep young guys infused, such as a Kendrick Eames, to have that competition factor as we go. So Coach K coming back on staff, you know, another critical acquisition, and Shane was able to stay on. So I look at it from a management standpoint. That's what I wanted to go into the offseason with, what's that good mix of young guys and veterans. And you never know until they actually go out there and do it, but we've had success this year going that route.
I was a big fan of getting Dexter Jackson back, another example of what you're talking about, and everybody named Jackson on the team is good. So that's Alvin Ray, LaRoche. You talked about the coaching staff a little bit, having them bring their experience, but being able to keep them and also keep the roster together. In years past, the turnover during the course of the season has been alarming, but it's been, knock on wood, a very successful keep it together year.
Again, Derek, to your point, Austin Wilson, our D-line coach, he's obviously has some history in servicing in the Marines and being into food and nutrition, so they kind of listen to what he tells them and maintaining their bodies. And we've been fortunate. I feel that anyone that wins a championship, you got to have a stroke of luck somewhere along the lines. And injuries that have happened, we've been able to sustain, maintain, and overcome. And guys, when they've had to go out, we've been able to plug and play immediately from the competition you see behind us. So we've, again, been fortunate in that regards to keeping a healthy roster, keeping the same guys in, and guys that we've kind of kept tabs on all year long. When the opportunity came for them to join our roster, we've added them.
Believe me, I've noticed that, and it's all been so successful. Now, as far as this actual game on Monday night, last time the teams played, you couldn't ask for a game to go more perfectly. Everything was falling into your hands, but I know that the players know it's not going to be the same type of game. It's not going to be 57-27.
No, and prior to that, we saw how we went up to Cleveland with the wrong mindset and they beat us. So, the quarterback starting with Nelson is obviously his dual threat capabilities is second to none. They're a tough, grimy football team that's going to make you earn every yard, and we expect that. We expect to do what we've done before. Protect the football, score as many points as we can, and obviously our execution and everybody on the field being into the game. I think that's a big thing about having a home playoff game is, we got a ninth man. We got to use them at all points in the ball game, and every play matters in the playoffs. You never know what play is going to turn the game around, but every play matters, and I think we'll be dialed in.
I think that's the point we should end on, because I've seen it just last weekend in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Even though it was a quote-unquote meaningless game and the quarterbacks are out, that crowd was still hanging on every play. They were booing every call that went against them, even obvious calls that should have been called. So I think maybe a message to the fans is this Monday night, don't just show up, but really bring it, right?
No, you got to be loud and proud. And, when the Cleveland Gladiators offense on the field, they don't need to know what the snap count is. That's how loud we need to be. So I encourage everyone to get out here this Monday night, support Storm playoff football, and again, hopefully root us on to an Arena Bowl championship.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek.
Mr. Brooks. That's the message. Get to Ticketmaster.com, get the tickets, and show up loud, show up early. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff on Monday night. We're going to talk to the head coach and the quarterback and give you more of the playoff picture when we come back on TampaBayStorm.com. Fresh off the practice field, head coach Ron James of the Tampa Bay Storm joins me, Darek Sharp, in our Storm playoff preview. And Coach, and we mentioned it with Derrick Brooks earlier, that you guys kind of had your spot wrapped up, and the intensity has still been there impressively to me, but can you feel a little bit more practicing, getting ready for the big playoff game?
Well, tempo's up a little bit. We were out practicing, and guys are more animated. They know what's on the line here, so it's we've had good practices all year long, but I think that this week's a little more special for these guys. They know what we have to do, and they understand that what's in front of them is pretty significant.
Well, the fact, though, that as I referenced, the games that you guys already had things locked up, and you still play an impressive game against Baltimore, most complete game at that time, and then you follow it up with your even more most complete game, that's got to say a lot about your team.
Well, it really does. We got high character guys that work hard every day, and I think that the week-to-week preparation really has a culminating effect at the end of the season, because you're trying so hard every week to be perfect, and nobody's ever going to be perfect, but that strive for perfection is what we kind of go for day by day. And those two games in particular were great benchmarks for us in the season, because we had things wrapped up and because our players really had to refocus. And so now it's all about the second season and getting ourselves ready for this week against Cleveland.
Did you get accomplished, if anything, what you wanted to accomplish last week against Philadelphia? I'm sure that was to not get anyone hurt and just give Randy Hippeard a taste before pulling him.
Well, somewhat. I mean, we adhered to the plan that we had. I mean, and the plan was to play Randy for a series. We just didn't know that series would incorporate almost a quarter of play with the combination of their score and then our drive. So really got out of it what we wanted to get out of it, in the sense that Chris Bonner got a lot of reps. We played some guys in some different positions and came out of it fairly healthy. Yeah,
Chris Bonner, that was a pretty impressive performance. It's good. You don't want to have to see him on Monday night, but it'd be good to know that you got some security there, right?
It was huge, because he only threw one pass the whole season.
Unreal.
So, you got a rookie that hasn't been tested, and we knew that he was going into a hostile environment. It was going to be a tough place to play. And how many rookies come in 14-0 the defending champ's house and have that type of poise that he had. I mean, it really showed a lot.
Now that was a pretty loud environment for a game of that nature, and it'll be even louder assuming we know what's probably going to happen for them on Saturday. But here on Monday night, I think the crowds have been great this year, but I think you really want to make it tougher on the opponent in a playoff situation, right?
Oh, absolutely. Our crowd's been the X factor all season long, and when we talk about the energy we feed from them and they give to us, it's tremendous. It's probably the toughest place to play in all of the AFL. When this house is packed and it's loud, it's tough on opponents, and we're counting on that come Monday night.
Absolutely. It's Monday night at 7 o'clock kickoff. It'll be the Storm and the Cleveland Gladiators, and I kind of talked about this with Derrick Brooks a little bit, and that is the game went so well last time. I'm sure you guys aren't expecting an easy route in Cleveland just to kind of show up and leave town, right?
No, every game's its own animal, so we know that in this situation, Cleveland's going to give us everything they've got and a little bit more, and we're going to do the same. So it should be a great game. It should be one of those games where, if we play Storm football, we can advance, and that's kind of the goal for this week. Make sure we play Storm ball and advance into the following week.
We'll get into some of your players here after this question. You mentioned playing Storm ball this year, and we've talked about it already on the show today, and that is the strategy, especially at the ends of halves. It's been a delight for me to call and to see. But 20 years of arena football experience comes into play, but you also have to have the players execute. It's been great every time, literally every time when a last-minute situation is needed to be executed this year. You guys have done it.
Well, it's all on the players, really. They have to come out and execute. They have to know what the game plan is. We have to articulate that well during the week and make sure that they're ready for every circumstance. And I think our players have done a tremendous job of paying attention to the small details. That's been the difference in a lot of close games, and we've won close games pretty much any way you can carve it up in this league. And it's been a pleasure this year.
Has it been as calm as it seems like down there in the field? Because I'm up there in the broadcast booth, the fans are in the stands. It seems like you guys are very calm in those situations.
We practice it so much that really it is. And I learned this early in my career in the Arena Football League. You have to make it just as smooth as a practice when you get into those situations, because the players take their lead from you and they understand the situations and work through them based on what your anticipation is and how you're able to put the game plan together.
Some of the veterans that were added, and of course you're a veteran coach, but that I was a big fan of, just seeing them on other teams, and I know you have a little experience with a lot of the guys. Could you talk about some of the guys like an Alvin Ray Jackson that you bring in and just means so much to a team, a Jordan Miller?
Well, for us, it's all about team chemistry. The way we're able to incorporate new players and get them to buy into the system, we have to go with veteran guys that understand the way we want to play. And so what I tried to do in assembling the team with Dave Wilson and with Derrick Brooks in the offseason was to get players that I had some connection with, guys that knew how I wanted the team to play. And then at every position group, you've got kind of a group leader that helps transition that.
Right, and you have a decent group of receivers. I mean, really.
Yeah.
and it seems like everyone knows about Joe Hills and Kendrick Ings, but it doesn't end there. It's a fantastic group.
Lamarck Brown's been phenomenal. Justin Hilton's been phenomenal. Lindsey's been phenomenal. These guys, are great athletes. They fit a specific role for us, and that's what's been big. Everybody accepting the roles and understanding what situations we want to play them in and how they should react.
It's been fantastic. Is there an area of specific improvement over these last few games, as you're getting ready for a playoff game, that you've been concentrating on, and are we there?
Well, I like to think that it's a work in progress every week, but I know that this much is true. Our receiver group is starting to gel. Randy Hippeard's got a great relationship with them. Our defensive backfield is coming along. They've got, it seems like a revolving door there every week. Defensive line has been the stalwart. Guys that, like Jordan Miller and Dexter Jackson, guys that, and Antron Dillon, guys that have been staples of our defensive environment, have kept steadied the ship there. And Doug Kay's done a great job with the defense, and Austin Wilson as well. So, I think that we're well coached on the defensive side. Defense wins championships. We all know that.
Yep.
So we have to be prepared to play a great defensive game like we did the last time we played Cleveland.
And one thing I haven't asked you mentioned the revolving door in the defensive backfield. It seems as though that's been the position where there's been most pickups during the last month of the season, but it must be nice to work for a team that is going to be constantly trying to improve the roster like that.
Well, that's it. We're always trying to look at it, and have a player personnel director like Dave Wilson is integral to what we do. Constantly mining for talent, bringing guys in, guys that we can look at, and quality football players that we feel can fit our system. And that's been the key. So, we've had some injuries, and that's part of football, but I think we've really adjusted well as the season's gone on.
I want to thank you for your time, Coach James. One last thing, a message to the fans out there. I know it's basically show up on Monday night, but maybe some more.
Well, fans, we need you to be loud on Monday night. Come out Monday night, be loud, be proud, be Storm fans the way you've been all season long, and give us that edge.
And don't worry, the play-by-play guy is going to do his part and be
Oh,
yelling and
that's
screaming. Thank you very much. We'll be back with more of the Storm football playoff preview with Randy Hippeard when we wrap it up. And our final segment of what we hope you've enjoyed. There you go. Speaking of, Darek Sharp here with Randy Hippeard. I was just saying, I know there's a player I haven't talked about yet, and it's usually the kicker. But there's another example, right, Randy Hippeard, of a player that's been important to this team this year. Before we get into receivers and points, the kicker's been pretty important this year.
Yeah, Derek. Every game, he comes up big with something, whether it's an onside kick. We call him the GOAT when it comes to onside kicks. He's got one from every angle, every foot. So he's definitely a big part of this team.
Yeah, I mean, last year you had a guy that could tackle really well, but guess what? There's other things that go on. So you've been, speaking of doing really well, it's such a welcome sight to have you back on the field this year. Did you envision the season going this well, though? It's been a great one.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you start a season, you expect to have success, So to come out here and to have the camaraderie and the connection we have with each player, it's been big for us. And we continue to grow and continue to get better as the year goes, and hopefully it all comes together this week.
Yeah, you talk about the camaraderie. Yeah, you missed it earlier. Joe Hills, we had a little interview with him, and he said, you're the MVP. I mean, I'm sure you probably feel the same about him,
right.
But it shows how you guys get along, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it all year. Individual accolades come when the team has success.
Yep.
So we've been putting the team first all year, and we've made some great plays across the board. The O-line has stepped up, the receiving corps, the defense, across the board. We've had big plays.
Well, a lot of them have come in the last seconds of halves and/or games, and you seem like you're so calm out there when they take place. Maybe it'll change on Monday night, but you seem like you're not nervous and can handle everything. It's been great to watch.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You come into a season, and one of my goals was just give us a chance to win at the end, and that's what we've done. And luckily, we've been on the better half of that when it has come to that.
You got some incredible performances this year. We're looking a little bit at Joe Hills. Everyone knows about him, but Kendrick, anything I'm thinking about the play at the end of the half the last time you guys played at Baltimore. It's been some tremendous stuff, and Lamarck Brown coming through clutch in a couple of occasions.
Yeah, absolutely, especially that play at the half. That a lot of people, it goes unseen, the blocking that we had downfield.
True.
It was one of those things where everybody knows the ball is going to Kendrick, and if you watch the film, you see we have all four linemen downfield, maybe 2-3 yards away from Kendrick when he's down there when he scores. So that's huge for us. Just that hustle. That's a pure hustle play, and it worked out for us.
The intensity, I'm imagining it's picked up a little bit this week. I'm sure players know what's at stake and that kind of thing, but have you sensed a little bit different? I mean, the playoff seeding has been decided for so long, but now it's really on.
Yeah, it's a more intense focus, I think. It's more getting to know your opponent, getting to know what you're trying to do, be efficient with what you're trying to do offensively and defensively, and doing it well, because I'm sure Cleveland, they're a great team, great coach team by Dominic and Coach Selesky out there. So it's one of those things, they're going to come prepared and they're going to give us some different things and show us some different looks. So we got to be prepared for everything.
More on the Cleveland Gladiators. They showed what they can do a few weeks back when they beat you guys when maybe your focus wasn't there. But I know you don't expect it to go the other direction and be another 30-point victory, right?
Right, yeah, no, absolutely. They're a great team. They're going to come into the house prepared. They've had a couple weeks now. They had a bye week last week, so they have had a couple weeks to watch us and prepare for us. So we expect it to be a dogfight. They're going to come in here. They're not going to lay down. To the clock reads 0-0 at the end, they're going to be fighting.
Well, the elephant in this whole broadcast, which I haven't mentioned because I'm not looking ahead, you're not looking ahead, no one's looking ahead. But we got to say it. The Soul has beaten the Storm all 3 times this year, and if you guys win, which your plan is to do on Monday, and we imagine that Philadelphia beats Baltimore Saturday, what do you guys have to do better to be able to beat those guys if you play in the Arena Bowl?
Well, first and foremost, like you said, it's all about this week.
Yep.
So we're not even focused on Philly, not even really too worried about that last game we played against Philly. It's all been preparation for this week because you can't go play in the Arena Bowl unless you get past this week. So that's been our main focus, and that will continue to be our main focus.
Good. All right. See, I like that answer. So I'll say it. They can beat Philly, but we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that. One thing, and I've let Derek Brooks and the coach Ron James do this. Looking directly at the fans, I know we want them to show up on Monday night. Your message to them, Randy.
Hey, we needed a packed house. We need everything we can get out to you, the intensity, the love, the joy, the cheers, the screams, everything. We need our 9th man. We need to make this a hostile environment for Cleveland when they get here. So we appreciate every one of you. We need you here this weekend.
That's what the plan is. And Randy, you've been the man with the plan all year.
Thank you. Appreciate
Great job.
it.
Hey, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for checking us out. Remember, Ticketmaster.com to get the tickets, 800-745-3000. We will see you here on Monday night at 7 o'clock, Storm and Cleveland Gladiators, as the football playoffs begin for Arena League. And for the first time in 7 years, it'll be right here at Amalie Arena. Thanks for checking us out.